Hey guys, I'm Dov, and today I'm back with more Total War Warhammer 2 multiplayer battle. Look at that guy up on the bell having a grand old time. Oh yeah, we're gonna be having some Skaven today up against the Norscans. This is actually a replay from the ECL courtesy of FPod. He's going to be taking the Skaven today against King of the Dead's Norsca. So let's take a look at what we've got here. Already some Marauder Horse Masters and Horsemen harassing on this flank against that Hell Pit. We've got a whole bunch of Rat Chaff, Skaven Slave Spears, Clan Rat Swords, and Shields with some Poison Wind Globes. Very interesting choice. Council Guards, some Rat Ogres. Yeah, I like the pick of the Poison Wind Globes. Very interesting. On the Norscan side, we've got some Skin Wolves, pretty common here. Hounds out the wazoo. We've got Wulfric up on a Mammoth. Whole bunch of Marauders in the center. Manticore in the back. We've got a Fire Shaman, and yeah, aforementioned Marauder Horsemen. Already the engagement getting underway here. You can see the Marauders have taken quite a few volleys from those Poison Wind Mortars, of which there is one. We've also got, of course, the Bell. Skaven Assassin on foot as well. You can see that boat cutting through the back line. Does quite a bit of damage to those Council Guard. Great stuff, free damage on that unbreakable unit, but there is going to be response here. Skaven Assassin comes in with a really nice Rival Hide Talisman. That Burning Head likewise going to do some good friendly fire to those Marauders, probably lead them to being routed, but here in the center, Wulfric's actually, with the Assassin's Trophy and Rival Hide Talisman, really not trading well at all against the Bell and the Assassin here, so a pretty good situation for the Skaven. Meanwhile, if we take a look at the side here, these Poison Wind Globes are actually, and the Mortars, more than anything. The Globes are not really online, but the Mortars, at least for the time being, are able to fire in, get that damage over time effect on those Skin Wolves. Skin Wolves are kind of the key unit in this matchup for the Skaven. They trade very nicely with Rat Ogres, which they're punching hard here, although again, they're taking quite a bit of damage from the Council Guard and those Poison Wind Mortars as well. That being said, across the Skaven line, the Norscan mobility definitely making its presence felt, almost like Beastmen in many ways. They're just swarming all over the field here. Icehorn Marauders pushing through, getting those Poison Winds, but plenty of summoned Clan Rats with shields as well, getting a bit of extra leadership and vigor from that Unholy Clamor there. And yeah, you can see these Globes are able to still fire, and the Globes in particular do quite a bit of extra damage, and because they have more ammunition, they can keep that damage over time effect active for as long as possible, and that is going to be very key here. These Marauder Horsemen getting terrified away by the Hell Pit Abomination. You can see a potential mistake. I'm not sure if this was intentional from King of the Dead, but just now activating this Feral Manticore, which would have been very useful in terrifying away some of these various Skaven troops and weapons teams. Again, I'm not 100% sure if that's a mistake or if he had meant to leave it in reserve there, but as it is, the Norscans are trying to clean up. They have got quite a few units cleaned up. Like you can see these Clan Rats here, one of the weapons teams of the Globes there, likewise these Mortars as well, so quite a few of the important Skaven units being cleaned up, but the fact the Bell's still so healthy is very important, and these Skin Wolves are being worn down over time. Actually, the fact that the Poison Wind Globes, you can see the effect still going off there as they're still able to, you know, in guard mode, chuck a handful of those Globes, and all it takes is one Globe hitting one model in the unit, and it'll apply the damage over time effect to the entire unit, right? So you can see even there's just these handful of little Globes sailing across, that is still going to be enough to keep that damage over time effect rolling. And yeah, even though there's just one Globe at this point, it's still going to be very important. A nicely placed boat there rips apart those Clan Rats. But the Hell Pit Abomination, you know, normally Norscans are very good at hunting monsters, but you can see here, these Hell Pit Abominations, considering the spear support that the Rats have, yeah, the Skin Wolves don't want to fight this Hell Pit Abomination straight up, although normally they would trade very effectively. If the Manticore comes in, perhaps they can team up with that there, but you can see the Rat Ogres maneuvering out here along with the Clan Rats, or Skaven Slaves rather, just going directly after the Skin Wolves, not allowing them a moment's rest here. Over on the side, you can see Wulfric has taken a lot of damage. That is pulling the balance of power in favor, but certainly this Assassin is very key here, providing that consistent Assassin's Trophy against the Mammoth, also providing some good DPS in and of himself. I'm not really sure where he's at. He's mixed up somewhere in this mess of monsters, but of course, he punches pretty hard. He's got good melee attack, and there he is, slapping the ankle of the big Mammoth as it runs away there. Wulfric actually not technically routed, but definitely wanting to disengage. Another nice Burning Head over here. Going to catch some of those Skaven Slave Spears. Will probably lead to them routing, but at the same time, these Rat Ogres are standing and fighting. They're going to get rear charged here by the other Skin Wolves. So once again, the Wolfmen ripping apart the giant rat things. And, you know, it just kind of makes sense, just Warhammer things, to be honest. But they are going to switch targets and switch back over here. Try and bail out the last of these Norsca and heroic units here. You can see the Manticore fighting desperately. Having a bit of a hard time. Honestly, these Council Guard are very, very key here, providing that extra physical resistance to the Grace here. And that Unholy Clamor as well, that extra leadership in helping hold the other, you know, non-unbreakable undead units, Skaven units together. And likewise, the pick of the globes as well. It's not super common that you see the globes. Obviously, mortar is much more common of a pick, but I actually really like them here. 4 Skin Wolves is basically a meta build, right? You can see Wulfric's Mammoth has fallen over, so all that's left is to finish off this Manticore and the Shaman Sorcerer, and that's going to be a victory for FPOD. Very impressive. All things considered, yeah, the Hell Pit Abomination, because it was kept safe from the anti-large tools that King of the Dead had, was able to clean up a lot of the large units as well. A lot of the Skin Wolves ended up having to fight the Hell Pit, you know, with the Hell Pit fully online, which is not great. The Chaff kind of did its job of soaking, but yeah, I'm pretty impressed with the globes, able to keep up that damage over time effect throughout the course of the battle. Now, on King of the Dead side, 167 kills on Wulfric, 102 for the Shaman Sorcerer. Definitely great stuff there. Again, this Feral Manticore, though, being brought in a little bit late, ended up being a bit of a mistake. If he had had that online earlier, maybe, just maybe, he could have chased off some more stuff and isolated those 2 big monsters and then helped, you know, have the Manticore help Wulfric take them down, right? But certainly, the Assassin with the Rival Hide Talisman and the consistent... what is it called? The Assassin's Trophy. Just super strong here. I love the supporting elements of the Clan Rat Spears as well. How about 61 clears on 61 kills on Clan Rats with shields? Not bad at all. Yeah, it's an interesting matchup. You know, Wulfric up on the Mammoth is definitely a good choice, although he is a pretty big target, mostly just because he has so much HP. Wulfric on the Chariot, of course, can be very good against the Skaven as well. Has quite a bit less HP, and as a result, is more vulnerable to getting sniped, which the Skaven definitely can try and do. Yeah, you can see here he gains a significant amount, like he goes up to above 10,000 HP on the Mammoth. So just by sheer amount of HP alone, that helps. I mean, the Chariot's mobility and escapability, also, of course, the anti-infantry capabilities of it are very strong, but the Mammoth just has so much HP. On the flip side, Throg can kind of resist to a degree the, you know, like sniping attempts of the Skaven because of his regeneration. But that being said, because his leadership just really isn't that great to begin with, and you know, he kind of has some other issues against the Skaven, lack of mobility being one of them. You know, typically, I don't know, it's hard for me to say without having played this matchup some more from the Norscan side who's really meta here, Throg or Wulfric. But just from my perspective, I would think that Wulfric up on the Mammoth could be decent, as long as the Skaven don't go too heavily into scaling, or scale too heavily into shooting, I should say. But, yeah, definitely some type of Chariot's going to be good here, and I don't know. I mean, I'm critiquing the build. Honestly, 1 Feral Manticore is pretty good. You could even go double up on that end. Yeah, I would kind of have to play around with it and see a little bit, but... You know, one thing I will say about that mistake, and I do believe it was a mistake, I don't know, I don't think it was intentional to leave the Manticore out of the battle for a good portion of it, but those types of mistakes happen on every level of play, and I always crack up whenever I see, whether I'm live streaming or even in the comments of my postcast videos, people trying to, you know, what we would call Monday morning quarterback, or armchair commenter general, you know, backseat gaming as some people might call it. Basically telling these people that they're bad and that they, you know, make mistakes, which are clearly obvious. And it's just kind of interesting to me that a lot of these comments come from people who I don't see participating in multiplayer or in tournaments, right? And again, I'll say this. Mistakes happen at every single level of the game, whether you're playing in the final of the Ever-Chosen Invitational in front of, you know, 30,000 people, whether you're just playing with some friends, friendly games, whether you're playing on ladder, in any level of tournament, King of the Hill, whatever, every game anyone's ever played, there are mistakes on some level, right? Like, everyone makes mistakes on every single game in every level of play, and sometimes they're a little bit more noticeable than other times, but I I would say before you post your comment about, oh, I can't believe these guys are so horrible, why would you showcase something like this? Just understand that everyone makes mistakes, and it's okay. Also, on the flip side, if you do make a mistake in a game, you know, and this is something that I am certainly guilty of, me being a very self-critical person, I'm always, you know, very hard on myself after I make mistakes in games, not really pleased with my performance, but I always have to remind myself, like, hey, it's okay, you know, everyone makes mistakes in every single game, and it's fine. You know, you just, certainly you want to look for them, which is, you guys will notice when I cast my own losses, I oftentimes talk pretty in depth and showcase specifically the mistakes that I made, kind of talk about how things might have played out differently if I had made a different decision. That's just sort of my own, the way I approach my own replays, right? And so, I would, you know, counsel you guys to do the same. Like, obviously, again, this is something that I personally struggle with, not taking it personal when I make mistakes and just being able to detach and be like, hey, you know what, it's okay, let's have a look at the replay, try and learn from those mistakes, and maybe next time do it a little bit better, right? And that's the goal. So, hopefully you guys enjoyed that. If you do like that sort of content, be sure to like, subscribe, hit that bell notification button, so every time I upload a new video, you'll be notified. Thanks again for watching, and we'll see you next time.